MBD Global Business Series, an initiative by Intelligent SME. Now, the Intelligent SME platform comprises of premium business magazine, a B2B portal, a social media presence, and of course, events such as this evening. Now, the Emirates MBD Global Business Series is an occasion for all of you to meet with the business icons, the corporate executives, and all the people who influence the business community here. Now, Intelligent SME wants to inspire all the entrepreneurs out there and the senior executives to reach to the best of their abilities. The business icons that are picked for these evenings are chosen, are hand-picked, shall we say, and they will provide all of us with profound insights and guidance to help us achieve our aspirations. Now, I'd just like to take a few moments to thank the sponsors of this evening. The success of Intelligent SME certainly wouldn't be possible if it weren't for the kind support of sponsors, of partners, and of course of well-wishers. So I'd like to take a moment for a special note of gratitude to our strategic alliance partners, Dubai SME, and our sponsor, Emirates MBD Business Banking. We'd also like to thank our gold sponsor, Porsche Centre Dubai, Al Nabuda Automobiles. The car that you saw on display outside, and I'm sure all of you noticed it, was the Panamera GTS. Now, it has high levels of intelligent style and performance that resounds really with the Porsche philosophy, and that's why it ties in so well with an Intelligent SME evening. The Panamera can be yours for those of you who wish to have it. If you would like to talk with the Porsche ambassador, there are special privileges for it. Mr. Mohammed Yassim, can you just let yourself be known to everybody? There we are. If you'd like to speak to Porsche ambassador, Mr. Yassim is just over there. Now, last but certainly not least, we'd like to thank our well-being partner, that's VLCC, along with our associate sponsor, Al Nabuda Insurance Brokers, Petrochem Middle East, Bryce Buzz, AIG SME Insurance Solutions, and our media partners, Khaleej Times, Star Plus, and Life OK. We also thank Do for their continuous support of this event. Now, it's our pleasure to welcome our guest of honor this evening, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Rahim Al Fahim. He's the CEO of the Paris Gallery Group. Can I please ask Mr. Mohammed Abdul Rahim Al Fahim to come to the stage, please? Along with Mr. Vikas Thapar, Head of Business Banking and CEO of Emirates Money, and along with Mr. Shantanu AP, CEO of SPI Group. Thank you. Now, just before we get on with the evening itself, I'd also like to draw your attention to the fact that tonight is the unveiling of the Apps Middle East magazine. Each one of you has one of these in your goodie bags tonight. This is an SPI Publishing's newest venture. It's packed full of gadget reviews and obviously, as you would expect, hundreds upon hundreds of app reviews. So it covers the whole mobile ecosystem. Now, could I please introduce the moderator for this evening? Our moderator is a well-known personality, everywhere around here, I would say. Mr. Tariq Qureshi is the founder and CEO of Vantage Holdings. He's also the media representative and advisor for Bloomberg TV and multimedia in the Middle East. So, Tariq, may I call you up to the stage to take over the evening celebrations? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As always, it's a great honor and great privilege to welcome somebody of the caliber of Mr. Mohammed Abdul Rahim Al Fahim. And today, it is about celebrating his life. Today, it's about being inspired. Today, it's about looking at some of the secrets that people have and and insights that they have into their success, which normal people like you and I often completely miss out. So we look at icons, we look at exceptional people like Mr. Mohammed here to give us that inspiration so that we can go out and then help people and take it on from there. What I'd like to do as we start this whole process is to go through his life. He is a family man. He likes hunting. And we're just going to track some of these things as we go forward. There we go. Okay. As you know, he's the CEO of Paris Gallery Group. Let's look at his early days. As you can see, he's a cool guy who's quite happy to share some of his more intimate moments, but it's about the humanity of the person. It's about the early days, what we saw, and how he developed himself. That looks very much like Regent's Park, Mr. Mohammed, isn't it? The one on the right, or maybe it's not, because, and his graduation days. A loving father. As you can see, he's very fond of his daughter, and his daughter's now growing up, so I'm sure we will have some stories about her. An inspiration in his life was his father, and we will share. And in our lives, we have all of these things happening regularly. So we have to see how we can seek that and remember all of the good points that our parents have shared with us and helped us. At this moment, I'd just like to take one moment. I actually brought my mother along. She's sitting right here. She wasn't coming because she said she's in a wheelchair. But it's about the blessing of having parents, and I thank you, and I'm glad she came. One of the things that Mr. Mohammed has done in his life, and when you go into his environment, you'll realize that there is a very special culture in his office, and we will discuss about how he's shaped that culture, because there's a saying in Greece that you actually judge a fish by looking at the head of the fish, and whether it's fresh or how good it is and so on. In business life, that is exactly the same thing that happens. Is you lead by example. And Mr. Al-Fahim has been leading by example. These are some of his pleasures. He likes hunting. He went with his father. Now, Paris Gallery has won all sorts of awards, and they are very unique in some of the things that they achieve. As a family company, it is amazing the amount of time and effort that they have spent in terms of creating corporate governance and quality within their organization. And we will talk a lot about that. This one, celebrating with their staff. As you will see, the connection and links with the staff is actually very, very close, and we will talk about that. This one was a staff party, I think. But this is just to share some of the wonderful moments in his life. And then it just sets us up quite nicely to move to the next level and talk to him about his life right now. Thank you very, very much for being here. Again, it's a pleasure and privilege that you've come here and are sitting with us. Let's go back to the earliest days in your life. What is a moment that you remember when you were a kid which still inspires you today? Perhaps from your father or from your mother or anything like that. We just want to get a feel from your heart what was connecting you.
First of all, I'd like to thank you and all the audience here. And it's my pleasure to be among you here and meet you in person. And also to say the compliments you just said about me, I don't know if I deserve it.
I'm sure you do.
But I'm sure most of you have more experience than me in life, and I'm trying to learn every day. And I hope also some of the experience we're going to be sharing with you is going to be useful to you. Hope so.
But in your early days, when you were a young boy, how did your father inspire you? Because I know when we spoke about it, we want to feel and we want to remember those days because they help to shape our lives.
Well, parents, each one of them, they have their own characteristic, you know. in terms of what they want to teach their children, what they hope the children would come up in their own mind and heart. And sometimes you find dad is more influential in some points and mom maybe in other points. Yeah. We all have that experience. When it comes to my dad, when I grown up a little younger, I mean, into a teenage age, I did remember like the things I saw or observed by my dad doing, and not dictating to me what to do or not to do, but showing me what, or history or story or things in that type. It meant something. It meant for me to learn and understand, and also to learn by in action. When I see him doing what, that's automatically I'm learning without noticing. I mean,
you know, when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned that your father never actually told you to do things, and he was leading more by example, which is very interesting because in our culture here, fathers and teachers are actually they actually do instruct you to do things.
That's true. I mean, and this is what I'm trying to say. I mean, he never said to me what to do or what not to do, but he was telling me stories, past days, some of his experience, or he'd take me along with him in some of the events or visits and so on. So I can see and observe how he acts, how he, so after I grown up a little bit more, I understood, yes, and when I was in some position myself, then I knew like exactly what I learned from my father and what it meant.
And how was your mother different to that? Because I think it's a balance between that.
It is. I mean, I learned from her more emotion in terms of loving and so on, because I'm as a person not a person who is very well in showing the emotion somehow. But my dad, I learned from him the principle, the value system. Mm-hmm. My mom more in another area, the soft area of human. Yeah.
And now as a father, father of 3 beautiful children, are you doing the same thing with them?
Well, I'm trying. That's not easy.
Okay.
I can tell you it doesn't work the way it worked with me at that time. When Donna was, let's say, about 10 or 12, because my other children were much younger. Yes. And she was in an age where she needed me more to interact. And sure, I wouldn't dictate to her what to do, what not to do, because that's what I thought it works very well. But I also expected from her to understand me the way I explained to her. And she wouldn't get me. And inside me, I get upset and say, how come? And she's not getting it, Until I think I made a visit to the school with her teacher. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, look, Donna, he needs you, and explained to me. I said, well, I try to interact with her. I try to understand her. I try to talk to her, but in my own way, And I tried to use logic with her, and that was a mistake.
Right.
Logic doesn't work.
Especially when you're 12 years old.
Yes. She wanted more of simple interaction, emotional dad, daughter things, more of that, more attention. Right. Especially when I was busy in a few years setting up this corporate governance things. Yes. I got extra busy, so I was a little bit distanced. Yeah, I mean, I do believe the way my dad or my father taught me is one of the best way I believe for myself. But to practice it in other children's perhaps doesn't work in the best way.
Do you project a lot of these learnings in your business life? Is that, I mean, are your staff like your children? Or do you treat them as a different kind of stakeholder? In other words, you inspire them by example as opposed to by guidelines?
Well, what I like to happen is in workplace, it's not always happens the way you wish or the way you like. I like to be one of them, and I like them to be in position of honor when they act, when they, let's say, take responsibility, when they do anything to fix, you know, or be creative. I try to show myself like, well, and that is my belief. Like, I'm one of you, many of you which you joined the company, you joined the company for some reasons.
Yeah.
One, you believe in the value system of the company, you believe in the ambition of the company, and so on. And also, we believe like you can add value to this company in the way, more than in the way you think you can contribute to this company. So when it comes to business practice, I try to give them the maximum space in which they can interact, they can come up with creative ideas and solution-oriented, let's say, culture.
Yeah.
And to emphasize on that, in many cases, whether some of the employees or seniors younger than me or some of them older than me, always the respect I try to keep, you know, as a younger brother to them.
Yes.
Okay, or an older brother to them, something like that.
So just going back again, I think it's very important because all of us do that. And when people look at icons like you who are super successful, alhamdulillah, we say, has this person ever screwed up? Has this person ever made a mistake or had a real failure? Did you have real failures in your life in an early age, or were you always blessed and everything was cool and your mom and dad looked after you and everything was easy?
You know, if you don't mess up, you're not human.
That's true.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You mess up, then you come back and you feel better and so on. Yeah, I did. And I may be doing every day, so it's nothing new.
Give us an example, because I think the audience here would be very keen to know how people like you, you know, make a mistake or fail in something, and how do you respond? Because you obviously are extremely successful, and you overcome those mistakes. How does we need that nugget from you, that secret of being able to do something wrong, make a mistake, learn, and move forward? Can you share a story with us? Can you share some ideas that will help us do that?
Well, one thing I somehow learned, or it was in me, like never regret about something you didn't do it right, or you lost, or it didn't go well. That's I don't do.
So no regrets about it?
No regrets. But I try to learn from it.
Right.
I try to, there are times where you give more chances.
Yeah.
To others, let's say, in which you have some sort of mutual interest.
Yes.
If it's not a mutual interest, then khalas, it's past, and you have to move on. When I was young, when I was traveling, I made mistakes. When I was in school, I made mistakes. And there are many, you know.
Sure.
But I did learn from it. I mean, every time I was in a types of bad situations, something I learned. I want to give you this example because it just popped in my mind. I was traveling back from US to Dubai through Frankfurt. I stopped by there for a few days. And that I was, I think, about 15 or 16 years old. I used to go to US to learn English in summer school.
Right.
My uncle was studying there. So somehow, the last day of my trip, which I was heading toward the airport, I lost my wallet. So I was surprised. Okay, only I got my, let's say, the passport.
The passport, oh, you're lucky.
And no, it was